Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Today is the 25th of July. It is the last day of bingo. um, I have completed my bingo board. I've blacked it out. Today's start was for my most recent new start. So I started a new project this morning. So I have to ask my sister Stephanie, if you're watching this video, to please look away, because this will find its way to you. This is going to be a gift for my sister Stephanie. If you've been watching, you know why. But she has the things that are shown in this in her life, and so I wanted to commemorate that. And it is a Mill Hill kit. And I think it looks so vibrant on that type of fabric that I went ahead and kept the kitted fabric. This is a Mill Hill kit. It came with everything in it. So this is my start. You can see what I started on was right here. I started in the center. Been working my way on it. And I stitched 272 stitches in this one. And if you like it, the name of the kit is right there so that you can see it. I can't say it out loud or my sister will have a hint as to what I'm working on. Okay, you can look back, sis. All right. So that was my new start. It certainly was over 100 stitches for my bingo board. And so I did get a blackout. I did post it. I didn't win bingo. I didn't get mine first. I think someone got bingo yesterday. Anyway, I was proud of myself for getting a blackout on it. And I really am tickled that I was able to make it work for me in a month where I was stitching nothing but Christmas. So that was fun. So after I finished my new start today, and my goal for that was to get a nice decent start in it, but to finish my bingo board and then to move on, because I had mentioned before that I wanted to touch my last two Christmas whips that I had in my collection. And so I have now spent time working on one of my last two, and that is my December quilt. And this is going to be a gift for my friend Cheryl because of the little Raggedy Ann doll in the wagon. I can talk freely because she doesn't watch my videos. But anyway, I think that's a beautiful Paula Vaughn piece. And so I had, again, started this one sort of in the middle and had worked my way up and around in that quilt, had worked my way up to the top of this stair hand rail there, and just decided I would keep going up. And the main reason I wanted to go all the way to the top is because my working copy that I made, without me knowing it, cut off the first few rows at the very tip top of this piece. And so I had to use the book today, and I couldn't mark it off until it got low enough to actually be at the space that I had made the copy. And that is the only place that I will have a problem. So I wanted to get it done. So when I looked at it today, I decided I'm only going to give this piece maybe one day this month instead of the 3 that I had planned to do. So I wanted to put a good number of stitches in there. And so I set a small goal for myself. I went back to setting goals instead of stitches, and I decided that my goal was going to be to stitch that entire sign picture that was on the wall. So I did. I had done the frame before, and I had done one of the shadow colors around, the beige color. So I came in there today and I put in all the white and the lettering and the star and the actual star rays that are coming off the star, rays of light, are done in Krynic, and I actually did them already in the Krynic because I wanted that whole thing finished so that the next time I pick it up, I don't have to worry about the top of my working copy. Everything is there now. So you can see in here the wallpaper is half stitches, and so I think the next time I pick this up, depending on whether it's for my bingo game with only 100 stitches, or if I use it in my daily 30 group where I need 300 stitches, what I think I would like to do next is start working on the wallpaper behind and eventually get all the wallpaper done so that I am down to that railing here and can work that railing all the way across. And then I can just work my way down the rest of the way, and that way I can continue to roll. Notice this is on a roller frame. I have been using it on a Q-snap, and today I decided it's much easier for my Elon floor stand to hold a roller frame than it is to hold a Q-snap, because the Q-snaps are so slick that, you know, they slide. So I just wanted to go ahead and put it on a roller frame, and I actually had a small roller frame that, or this is one of the smaller ones. This is an 18 inch. This is 18 inches if you want to see what that looks like. And I love it because when you get a fabric that's 17 inches, like a fat quarter, it fits on here beautifully, going a long ways. So the 17 inches goes across here just lovely, and you only have the ½ inch on each side, which is what they recommend, so that your first little nail, tack, whatever you want to call it, grabs on the end of your fabric. It helps hold it a lot more secure on the ends when you have a tack right at the end. So I stitched 762 stitches, and I am counting all that back stitching and the rays from the sun 2 for 1. So still 762 stitches. So there's a lot of white in there that you don't realize. A lot of stitches. This is small count. This is 32 count. Anyway, I think it's beautiful, and boy was I excited to be able to get a big goal like that stitched on this piece, especially since I can't give it 3 full days. But I certainly gave it quite a bit of time today. Another reason I wanted to put more time in that one than my new start is that tomorrow morning I have a Zoom call, and I want something easy to stitch on during my call, and I'll pick that gift back up and I'll stitch on it while I'm talking. I'll actually be stitching on it while I'm talking to my sister, probably. I like to do that. I like to sneak in a few stitches on her gift while I'm talking to her, and she never knows it. It's just kind of a fun thing I do to say, I'm doing something for you and you don't know it. So anyway, that's my stitching for today. The other thing, I guess, that I did today is I pulled out my list that I made recently when I was talking with you guys about all of those series that I had going, where I had stitched something that either was a group of 3 or a series of ornaments, or you know, a sectioned like my stitch box that has a section stitched for each of the little sections of the box. And I pulled that back out today, and I wanted to see, have I made any progress on it since I noticed that at the first of the year? And I am happy to report that I have made some progress on it. So I have been making some pretty decent choices on when I need something to start. So my coastal ornament grouping, which is the 3 ornaments in the storage box, the only thing I had left to do was the storage box. And that will be my last piece that I need to work on for this month to hit all of my Christmas pieces. So tomorrow, during my Zoom call, I'm going to work on that gift. But after that, I'll put it back aside again, and I'm going to pull out my coastal ornament box, and I'm going to try to put a good number of stitches in it like I did my December quilt today. But when I finish that box, that whole series will be stitched, and then all I have to do is fully finish it so I can gift it to my friend. The hands-on design animal ornaments that were the Polar Plunge group, I had 4 left to stitch. Well, I stitched one of them. The name of the one I stitched was Well, Hello There. So now I have the Penguin Pair, the Puffin Party, and N is for Norwal left to do. And I have decided that next time I want to stitch something small, I'm going to try to grab one of those. Get maybe one more done this year. I think that would be fun. My red work pairs, I had done one when I made this list, and I needed to do the second and third one. Well, I finished the third one on my trip to Tulsa, so that one's completed. I was able to say I've completed a whole series, and it's off my list now, which is wonderful. My birthday stitches, I had one that I had done, and I had a second one I wanted to do, which was a hands-on design, Happy Birthday, and I have it. I had it kitted when I made the list. I've now finished it. Now I've got to fully finish them because the August birthdays are coming up. My village ornaments, the vintage village ornaments that my son gifted me the kit for, their full coverage. I hadn't said whether I was going to do one this year or not, but one of my viewers mentioned that for the Christmas in July, I really ought to start one. So I did. So out of the 4 that I had left to do now, I have started one of the 4, and I hope to keep working on it this year. And then word plays, I had several of those left to do, and I have decided that in the month of August, I would like to start the one for August. So that means one of those will be started as well. So far, I have completed 2 of my series, where I stitched 3 different things to do that, but I've completed 2 different series. So rather than 33, I now have 30 that I have to work on. So that's an improvement. That's a little better. And the fact that I have started on 2 more, that would be even better. And I have kitted 4 more that were in those series. So they're sitting over there ready to go when I'm ready to do them. So that tells you something. I've gone back and revisited some of those series, and I am making some progress on them. But no pressure. Do it when I want to. Don't want to make it to be unpleasant. So the last thing I want to share with you tonight is that the 25th of the month ends our bingo for this month, but it starts my planning for next month. I have the acrostic from the Magazine Monthly Challenge group. I have my Whip Go calls, which, by the way, my Whip Go call this month was December quilt for August, and it was to stitch 300 stitches, and tonight I stitched 762 on this. But I have decided that if I can, I'm going to pull it back out in August to put another 300 stitches in it. Since it's still ongoing, I would like to do that. But today I sat down and I made up a first draft of my bingo board for August. And I'm not going to do a focus like Christmas in July, so I can touch all my whips again, and I definitely want to do that as much as possible. So I did my magazine acrostic, and then I made sure I put all those on here. And I have decided that because I have enough to stitch on, most likely, I will wait till they're called to do these. So that way I don't work on it and then have it called the next day and feel like I have to pick it back up. So I will do that. Now, if for some reason I get on a tear working on something really hard and I finish it and it hasn't been called yet, then I will change it. I'll let the group know that I'm swapping it because I finished it. I think that's fair. So we're fine. But for now, my bingo board looks very similar to what it's looked like in the past, where I have named what project I'm going to use for that number instead of whip of choice or Christmas whip for every one of them, which is almost what it looked like this past month. So I'm excited about it, and I have also put on here in 2 squares new starts, because I would like to go ahead and start pulling forward a couple of the things that I want to work on, because I've had so many finishes. So that's a good thing. I will tell you this too. I went back and looked at my plans at the first of the year. You know, I said I wanted to start 40 new things. And then my friend Lori from Once Upon a Stitch said, I'm going to start a number that's the year of my birth. And I said, I can't do that. I'd have to do 56 things. I'd have to start 56 new things. Well, so far this year, I have started 47 new things. And I still have 5 berries to start. I'm going to start one every month. Been doing that all year. And I still have 4 new starts on my Whip Go board that haven't been called yet. So when you add those together, that's 9 more starts I have planned. And if you put them with the 47 that I've already started this year, guess what? It's 56. And I didn't plan it that way. Now, here's the key. I originally planned 40 starts. I had a list, and I had each activity that I was going to stitch it for, like May Mondays and my berries once a month, and what I was going to do like for a birthday start or this or that or the other, and it came up to be 40. Well, so far I have only started 22 of those planned starts. So with the 9 that I still have over here, that is still only 31. I looked today to find my notes where I had planned out all those starts to see what I had put on there. I'm not sure where they are. I don't know if I have mistakenly written in one of those starts I have on that list as an unplanned start. Maybe I put it in the wrong category. But I will tell you, I have more than started 40 things already this year, because I've started 47. I have finished about 43 so far this year. And I still have at least 9 new starts coming up to get those berries in and to get my 4 Whip Go things started. But none of that was called for this coming month. So I figured, you know, I will continue to work on all of my whips. I am down to, now with my new birthday start, not birthday start, but Christmas start for my sister. I would like to give it to her for Christmas. If not, it'll be a birthday gift. But with that, I now have 17 whips. So that's good. I think I've done really well at keeping them lower. I was saying I probably would get up into the 20s by the end of the year, and I still may. But I think it's going really well. And I like planning out new starts, because then I can kit them and I can have them ready. They're over in baskets waiting for me to grab them. And I have started kitting up things I want to include for consideration when I look at next year's plans and when I get ready to start working on that. Believe it or not, I'm already thinking about it. It's just August. But if you've got to kit things up in advance, you do have to think about it a little bit quicker, because I'm doing Stitch from Stash. I can only kit it up so much every month because I have to earn that money, you know, for my budget. And so that's part of it as well. But I think things are going well. I'm enjoying my stitching. I feel like I am just really making great progress. I feel like I'm hitting goals right and left. So I feel accomplished in my hobby, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. You know, I think things have gone really well this month. This has been a very productive Christmas in July. Very happy about that. I am down to 6 Christmas whips. 6, which is great. Very happy about that. So I am going to say goodnight, and I will, as my friend Glow says when we're talking, I'm going to love you and leave you. I think that is so cute. And I'm hoping to get to talk to her tomorrow. And then I'm going to go say goodnight to my hubby and Coco and join them for some sleep. I have an early call in the morning with my sister Stephanie, and then I'm hoping to get to talk to Glow tomorrow as well. And my husband and I have a lunch date, so I'm excited about that. So I'm going to say it's been a fabulous day here. It's been a little bit cooler. It's kind of rain sprinkled a little bit part of the day. I was able to get Coco out twice today in between the raindrops, and then my husband was able to take her out for a short walk in the neighborhood again this evening. So even though we could not stay out a long time with her, she got to go out 3 times, which was great. So she's having a good time. I think that's everything for me to share with you tonight. I hope you're having a great week. Tomorrow starts the weekend, and I need to talk to my friend Donna and find out what our plans are as far as lunch on Saturday, if we're going to take our lunch or eat out. I'm kind of hoping she's in the mood for Mexican. I'm in the mood for Mexican. So, of course, I'm always in the mood for Mexican. It's one of my favorite types of food. But anyway, I'll see how she feels about that, and make our plans accordingly. And then hopefully I'll have some Hawk Run Hollow progress to share with you after this weekend. That would be pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to say goodnight, and I will check in with you later, hopefully tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is July 26th, and it's a Friday. And I wanted to share with you a little bit of stitching that I've done today while I've been talking. I've been visiting a bit with my sister on the phone this morning, and then I got to talk to my friend Glow for a little bit today. And I hope to have another call this afternoon. So I've been having to stitch on something that I could stitch easily on while I'm talking. And so, again, sister, look away. I pulled back out this gift that I want to stitch for my sister, and I worked on it some more, and this is where I got to. So I did all of this over here today, which is 159 additional stitches. Okay, Stephanie, you can look back now. So another 159 stitches, not a lot, but I was busy visiting and talking today. A lot to catch up on with 2 retreats and all of that. So I didn't get to get a whole lot of stitching in. And now I have decided to do something fun. I finished with my bingo for the month. I have a new weekly challenge in the Daily 30 group, and it's one I wrote and contributed, so I definitely have to stitch it since I created it. But I can work on that in the coming few days till month end. It actually runs all the way till August the 10th, so I have plenty of time to do that one. So I think today I'm going to begin the planning process. You know, planning is fun for me. It's something I totally enjoy doing. And you can't see it, but I have 2 huge baskets over here that I had put all of my whips and new starts in at the beginning of the year for my whip go calls and the other 30 of my new starts that I was going to do in this year. And I was down to only 4 things left in that basket. And I started collecting new patterns at retreats, and I started being gifted things, and I kept saying, oh, I want to remember to stitch that. Oh, I want to remember to stitch that. So I just decided to start putting them in a project bag and putting them in this basket so that when I came time to my planning, I would have them handy. So now that I have only one Christmas whip left for the month, and I have several days in which to stitch it, this afternoon it's kind of quiet. My husband has taken one of the cars over to get an estimate for some new tires, and so he's going to be gone for a couple hours, and Coco's napping. So I think I'm going to pull all those things out, put them in order of which ones I really want to stitch first, go through some of my other patterns that I may have sorted by categories just to see if any of those jump out at me. I need to look at the calendar and see what kind of events I want to participate in, and just kind of get an idea of what I might want to make my focus for next year. I thoroughly have enjoyed this year of so many new starts. I've worked really hard to keep my whip numbers manageable and down. So even with all the new starts, I kept working really hard to finish as many of the new starts as I could, or any of my older whips as I could. And I think I'd like to continue that. Now, I had said at the first of the year that I wanted to participate in an event that Yurgita does on I think it's Stitches with Coffee, Yurgita Stitches with Coffee. She does a 3 months to the finish line, and so she starts it October, November, December. She works on things to finish by the end of the year. And she's made it a game, a dice game. And I have watched it every year thinking, that is so fun, that is so cute, I might like to do that. I think I would like to do that, but I can't go ahead and create that list of what I want to stitch on yet, because I still have so much time the end of this month, and I have all of August and September to stitch before I come up with what do I need to push to a finish by the end of the year. I could finish some of these things before then. So I think a little bit of just background work today would be good. Just look through all of my kitted projects or partially kitted projects, look through all of my patterns that I've been collecting, and just see, are there any I want to pass along? Are there any that I want to really push forward and have in my next year? Of course, one of the things I'm going to be considering are those series that I've been working on. So some of those will show up, I hope, next year. And we'll just see how my plans unfold. So if you're doing if you have some ideas of things you would like to do, either the way you want to focus or structure your stitching for next year, please let me know. Might help me, might spur me on. But in the meantime, I will just start getting started and do a little background planning. It may not be anything to share with you yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. So you may not see me back with any more stitching, but you'll be the first to know if I do. So I hope you are having a great day of stitching, and I hope you're going into a wonderful weekend of stitching. And I will talk to you as soon as I have more stitching to share. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is July 27th, Saturday, and I am here to talk to you about my stitching today. I went with my friend Donna to a stitching meetup today in Marietta, Georgia, and this was what was originally our Hawk Run Hollow stitching group. Anybody who was working on a Hawk Run Hollow was welcome to come. And once you finished your first Hawk Run Hollow, then you could stitch on anything you wanted while you came. Well, time has moved on, and the lady who organized it to begin with has run into a little situation of trying to be able to secure a regular meeting place for the group. And because of having to move around from place to place to place, wherever there's a day available that they can meet, she has been able to secure a position at one of the libraries like we do in Gainesville, where as long as they're willing to teach anybody how to stitch, they can use the room for free for the day, and they get the same day every month. And they chose the last Saturday of the month because they're very kind and don't want to compete with the one that we do in Gainesville. So I am trying to stay true to the original intent of the group for now, and I took my Hawk Run Hollow with me today, even though it's on a big roller frame, so I could work on it. And I'm glad I did, because when I got home, I realized that if I put a few more stitches in it, I could count it for my needlework and embroidery challenge in the Daily 30 group. One of the items that I need to stitch a prompt for is to stitch on a design that has an X shape in it. And when I looked at this one, I was delighted to see this, but I came up with an X shape in my Hawk Run Hollow. When you look at that kite and you look at the ribbing of the kite, if you turn it slightly, it's an X. So even though it's pictured this way, you just tilt it and there's your X. So that's what I'm counting. So today I had the T in there when I got started. So I did all the wording on that side. There will be a bird up here and a bird here, and then there'll be wording all down this side. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do one of the birds next so I can place everything correctly. But this gave me 235 stitches, and I chose to just do the lower prompt of 200 because that was a really good place to stop. And this is not a Christmas whip. I took it today simply because it was Hawk Run Hollow Day and Donna and I could go. So this is the one exception that I had told you I was going to stitch on until I finish my final Christmas whip, which will be my Coastal Holiday. Interestingly enough, my Coastal Holiday will actually meet a prompt for me in this challenge because I am to stitch on a whip that has either sheep or two of something. And in the Coastal Holiday, I have 3 houses, little changing rooms, and so I have at least 2. And when I've got one of them stitched, so I'll be working on the second one when I pull it out, and that'll make 2. The third one won't be there yet. So I think that's what I'm going to do for that prompt. Now, I may not get it tonight because it's kind of late to get started on it tonight, but sometime before the end of the month, that is my goal, to do that. The other prompts I'm stitching for, one is to stitch on a whip with flowers, and I think I'm going to pull out my Miss Christmas Eve again because I really want to put more work in her since she was on my original year of whips. And her skirt has flowers all around the border of it, so that would definitely qualify. And the last 2 are work on a whip that will either be turned into an ornament or something useful. And I do have a Christmas piece that's going to be an ornament, and it is full coverage, but I could put 200 stitches in it. And the last one is to stitch on a whip that has the most colors or shapes. And originally I thought maybe Nativity for that because of all those blends. But I have a coupon to use. I have a coupon for a free prompt. I don't have to stitch anything, and I get to count the highest number as my tokens that I'm getting. So I will either use it for my ornament or something useful or my most colors. we'll see what I decide to stitch on. Anyway, so that's that. So now I have something to share with you. I mentioned that I finished my Snow and Mountains, or Neige et Montagne, while I was at retreat, and then I took it to Hobby Lobby, and they had a frame there that was a off-the-shelf frame that fit perfectly. And I took it in, and Mindy wasn't there, so I talked to her, one of her coworkers, Clint, who was extremely helpful. And he said, oh yeah, we should be able to pop that right in that frame for you. It fit, and so wasn't going to be any trouble. Well, I got a call today from Mindy, and she said, I'm just not happy with it. I don't think it's the quality that I like. I can't seem to get it perfectly straight. She said, I would like to try it with a mat. Do I have your permission to do that? And I said, of course. She said, it'll be a real skinny mat, but I think it needs it. And so she did. And she called me back later today, and she said, Dina, I'm sorry to bother you again. I'm just not happy with this, and I really would like to talk to you about it and see what you want me to do. So I said, well, how late are you there? And she was working till close today. So I went in, and I want to tell you what this young person did for me. She showed me the piece, and what upset her is that the mat on one side was so close on the stitching, it actually covered up part of the stitching. And what Mindy and I were able to discuss and figure out is that on one top corner of my fabric, I had stretched. She didn't say I did it. She just said it was stretched. I know I did it because I put my thing on a roller frame and I stretch it across the top as tight as I can get it, and then I stretch it across the bottom as tight as I can get it. And this piece, the top was near the top of my stitching, but the bottom was so far I've cut that part off. So that means that at the very tip top of my fabric, I pulled it so tight I actually stretched it a little too far. I stretched it out a little bit. And as Mindy explained to me today, you can stretch fabric, but you can't scooch it back together. So what that has done is it created a corner that was just a little bit out of sync. You know, just a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction out of wonk. So anyway, it didn't help that I picked a wonky frame. I loved this frame when I saw it on the shelf. It, to me, was quite artsy. It was different, and it looked like an old window, and so I wanted it, and it fit, and I was tickled to death about it. So Mindy and I discussed it, and she said, you are not committed to this. I can take it apart. I can show it to you without the mat. And I said, can I see it without the mat? So she took it all apart. She took the back off of it. She took it completely apart, took the mat out, popped it back in the frame, and I said, oh, that's it. I love it. It's perfect. And Mindy said, are you serious? And I said, yeah, you're being too hard on yourself. It looks great. So we did it without the mat, and then Mindy fixed the back all over again for me while I waited. I mean, I didn't take her long. I'm going to leave this in the plastic. Forgive me for that, but this is not going up till Christmas, and this will keep it nice and clean in my closet, and so forgive me, but I'm going to do that. So, but I think you can still see it. This is my Neige et Montagne. Isn't that the perfect frame? This is what I mean by it's wonky. It's not perfectly straight. It looks like someone took wood and shaved it down and just made a frame out of it, because this is a little curved in right here. This is a little curved in right here. It's just kind of wonky. You know what I mean? I love it. I think it's so cool. This is a little uneven out here, and the dark shows a little more. So I just think that makes it, because that's wonky. It's fine if the piece is wonky. Now, I want you to be honest with me. Can you even tell? I don't think, unless you looked at it with a super critical eye, that you could tell at all. I think it looks great. So anyway, Mindy, you're too hard on yourself. So I love it. I just wanted you to see. This is the Nugent Montaigne. I think it's a perfect match. I love the fact that the wood in here has a light and dark shade grain running through it, and that just reminds me of the piece in here. I think it just ties to it beautifully, just beautifully. So here it is, and I'm really, really pleased with it. Apologize that you can see wrinkles in the plastic, but you know, maybe that'll give you a good idea of what it's going to look like at Christmas. I just think it turned out so well. I'm so pleased with it. And now I'll take that down and put it in my closet with my other Christmas decor when I do that. So I did get to do a little bit with Christmas today. I got to work with Mindy on framing. Now I have a funny story to tell you about that. We were talking and Mindy said, by the way, I had a brand new customer come in today and talk to me and brought some needle art in, and she said I was talking to her about the fact that I have a client, a customer that comes in, and that her stitching is beautiful, and she was talking about how her back is real neat and all, and her new customer said, you must be talking about Dina. Mindy was shocked. She hadn't said anything to really reveal who I was. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't talk about one customer to another. She never does. But this lady guessed who I was, and Mindy said, how do you know her? And she told Mindy, I have a YouTube channel. I never mentioned that. Mindy's not a stitcher, so I never thought to mention it. But the lady told her she saw my video that I just put up that had the framing that Mindy did on my 13th colony by the bay. And she told Mindy how beautiful it was, and said she had seen it on my YouTube channel. So now she's told Mindy about the YouTube channel, and Mindy said, you're famous, and you've made me famous. Because her new customer said she talks about you, which I do, but it's always good, Mindy, because you are so sweet and so helpful and so dedicated to what you do. So if you're watching this, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, now I am going to get back to stitching. I've still got a couple of good hours in the day to stitch, and I think I'm going to try to pull out my one of my other pieces that I've been stitching on, that's just some fill-in work, so that I can meet one of these prompts and, you know, get another one of those under my belt. And possibly tomorrow I'll tackle my coastal holiday. There's another quick story I will tell you. I have a lot of little stories today, sorry, but got a text message yesterday from a lady who said that she had a friend who had come to one of our stitching meetups to learn about cross stitch or to get back into cross stitch, but has fallen head over heels in love with it, and she has been stitching ever since. And now she wants a floor frame, and she knew I had a particular style, an Elon artisan design floor frame. I also have the lap frame, and I found those from Brenda, Handwork Maniac, because that's what she has. So I watched her video showing how she used them, and I went online and researched it, and I thought I would like it, and I got it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So she said her friend wanted to talk to me about the floor stand because she's trying to make a decision about buying one for herself. So I called her friend. She gave me her number, and I called her friend, and we talked a little bit, and she told me something I did not know. She told me that they were about to discontinue making floor frames, these models, and one other, this one and one other, and that you won't be able to order them after the 31st of this month. And so she had to make a decision on whether she wanted one or not by then. So we got to talking about it, and I said, you know, I can tell you how much I love it, but the main thing is, do you like it? You know, is it going to be at the right height for you? Because you can adjust the height. but you know, can you use it comfortably? And she said, would it be possible for me to see yours? And I said, well, yes, of course. So we got to talking about where we could possibly meet up. It turns out she lives just a couple of blocks from me. It's amazing. She lives just up the street, you know, not far at all. It may take her 8 minutes to get here. I don't know, with traffic, you know. So we've made arrangements for her to come over. And she and her hubby are going to come because he wants to kind of check it out and see it, you know, see how the quality is in it. And so she's going to come and see my floor stand. And I'm excited about it for her because I hope that helps her to decide whether she would like to try it out or not, you know. I encouraged her to bring some stitching with her so that she could actually put the stitching in the stand and work with it a few minutes to see how she likes it. Because you really don't know until you use a stand how it's going to work with you. You know, you really don't. So I'm hoping that that goes well, but that is supposed to happen tomorrow, unless things change. And so I am excited about that. I'm excited to have her come over and see it and help her explore what she might enjoy, you know. So looking forward to seeing her again. I think I know who she is. I think I remember who she is, but I'll know as soon as I see her tomorrow if I was thinking of the right person. Anyway, I'm going to get busy stitching, and I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing, and whatever your weekend is holding for you, I hope some of it is stitching. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back again. It is a little bit later on the 27th of July, and I didn't think that I was actually going to get to stitch on my coastal holiday today. I didn't think I was going to have enough time to stitch enough for the prompt, but then I realized it was only 8:30 and I could do 200 stitches by about 10 o'clock, and it is 10 after 10. So I did it. This means that I have stitched on every Christmas whip I had. I started some new ones and finished them. And I finished some of my Christmas whips, which I just showed you one earlier today that I picked up from the framer. So this was my final one. And I am working on the box right here. And today I used it not only to finish stitching on each of my Christmas whips, so now that is complete. I also was able to use it for a prompt, and the prompt was to stitch on something that has two of something, sheep or two of something. And I chose to do this because I'm putting in the second house. These are changing rooms, I think, on the beach. And so today I was able to stitch 208 stitches. I started this, there was none of this here. When I picked it up, the furthest thing over here in this row was this little crab. So I did all of the white outline of the house, and then I went in and filled in the star and the door. And so now I'm just ready to do the house, the boards of the house itself when the next time I pick it up. So I can finish that little house next time I work on it, which will be great. There are a total of 4, but for now, this is only showing 2. So that's how I used it to meet the prompt. So I'm excited. I know I've touched every one of my Christmas whips. I've actually got them down now to 6 remaining whips. Initially, I had 8, I guess, whips, but I had 4 new starts. So I wound up having 12 whips for the month of July that were Christmas related. And I now have only 6. So I finished half of my Christmas whips so far this month. I think that's pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take that. That's great progress. So I think now what I might do is just decide where I go from here. But it's kind of up in the air at this point. I I could do anything in the next few days. So I will keep you posted, and I'll share with you exactly what I work on. But I have loved getting so much progress on these Christmas pieces in the month of July. So thanks for taking that journey with me. And I hope that you'll hang out a little bit more till the end of the month until I complete my Christmas in July. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is Sunday, July 28th, I believe. Yes. And I am excited to let you know that I completed another prompt. This is in the Daily 30 group. This is the needlework and embroidery prompt, and it was to stitch on a whip with flowers. So this is Miss Christmas Eve, and there is one flower in her hair. So I was thinking when I first picked this one to work on it that these were flowers around her dress, but they're really not. They're beautiful bows around her dress. But the one in her hair is a flower. So, or I think it is. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Because that's what it looks like to me. That's how I used it. So, I put in 221 stitches. 200 is the minimum, 300 was the maximum. And I was on a Zoom call this evening, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to stitch. So I put in another 221 stitches, and I'll show you where I did it. I started right in here, and I did this dark green all the way across to 221. So I'm working my way on across here. As you can see now, I'm trying to move on down on the skirt. And hopefully when I finish to a certain point on the skirt, then I can start beading this thing. But I think it's beautiful. I think it's turning out really pretty. You can see all the spaces in there that are for beads, treasures, and the water lilies. But I'm just doing the cross stitch first right now. But that's where she is. Now this was on my Year of Whips. This was my 8th and final piece on my Year of Whips. I don't think I will finish it this year. I even looked at trying to break it up into parts and doing it every month to finish it this year, and I don't have enough room. I started out saying, well, what if I did 500 stitches a month, and that got me half of what's left. Seriously. So there's a lot of stitching. There's a lot of stitching in this Mirabilia. So I'm going to put her away for now, and I have one final prompt on that challenge, which is to stitch on a whip that has the most colors and or shapes. And so I'm thinking that it could be my nativity to have the most colors. But I'm kind of thinking I might like to stitch on my spring Quaker because it has all those different Quaker shapes. It certainly has more shapes than anything else. So I think I'm going to change my mind and do spring Quaker for that one. So I think that's it. I think that's all the news fit to print, as they say. And I will say goodnight. My husband wants to get up early and run in the morning. I have a doctor's checkup, just 3-month checkup to see how I'm doing tomorrow. I don't anticipate any problems there. And then I'll have tomorrow to stitch, and I Zoom tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to a great week. And I'll keep you posted as it goes. Until we speak again, everybody, happy stitching. Hi everybody, good evening. It is July 31st. It is the final day of my Christmas in July stitching, and I want to give you some update and some statistics and tell you a little bit about how it went for me. It was a fabulous month, a fabulous month. I decided yesterday that I wanted to pick up my one of my Christmas whips that I had gotten really close to a finish. After I finished stitching my last Christmas whip, I have touched everything that was ongoing that was Christmas related. I actually started 2 new Christmas ornaments that I'm probably going to make into drums, and I finished both of those. So all in all this month, with my new starts for my gifts that I've got going for Christmas presents for Stephanie and her mom, with the new starts that I did at retreat for the pair that I did, for everything else I worked on that I started for the month of July, I had 8 new starts. 8. But I had 10 finishes. So if you want to know what the last one was, it was today, and it was Santa's house. So I came back to this one yesterday, and I put 940 stitches in it yesterday, and all I had left was this reindeer and the snow on this side, and to bring the border down and around, which was 499 stitches, and I finished it this afternoon. So I think it's beautiful, and I did want to share with you, this is by it's Santa's House by the Cottage Garden Samplings. This is what the pattern looks like. And it calls for 2 classic colors. It calls for a ladybug, which is the red, and it calls for the gray, which is a Plymouth Rock. Now, this is how much I have left of the ladybug second skein, and this is how much I have left of the Plymouth Rock first skein. Now, I'm a thread miser. I stitch my thread down to the last nub, and so if you aren't a thread miser, then you would have had to go to the second skein of gray. So I agree with the pattern. It calls for 2 skeins of each, and I think to be safe, you should get 2 skeins of each, because this is all I had left of the second one of the red. And even though I didn't have to go into the second one on the gray, you very well might if you don't take your thread as close to the end every time that I do. So I just think it's lovely, and I'm tickled to death to have it finished, because it brings my Christmas whip count down to 5. I had 12 when I started the month. I started new Christmas pieces during the month, and I finished several of those. I started my berry. I started, my 2 from Primrose Cottage that I did at retreat, and so that was part of those 8 new starts. But I am tickled to death to tell you that I have this finish. So I'm really, really happy with it. It is a small piece. Look, this is a fat quarter, and look how much room I have left. So I will definitely capture the extra fabric here on the bottom for another piece, and then I'll see if I have a frame that it'll fit into, and then if not, I'll measure it and see if I can get an off-the-shelf frame, and then if not, I'll have it custom framed. But it is quite lovely, I think, quite a pretty piece. So decided to check out a couple of things in addition to my starts and finishes, and I decided to see how many stitches I had put in for the month of July, and I put in 20,736 stitches in the month. So I think that's been a very productive month, very, very productive. But knowing that I finished 10 things, now I know why I've got startitis, because I just keep taking things off the roller frames. I just took this off today. Here's my roller frame waiting for me to put something new on it. And so my little clothes hanger over there that has all my roller frames hanging on it, it's starting to look a little bare. which is great. So I am excited. I've had a great month. I hope you have. I hope if you've done Christmas in July, I hope you enjoyed it. I know some people halfway did Christmas, and then the other half of the month they did patriotic, and I think that's wonderful. I only have one patriotic on the go right now, so I can work on that maybe in August. But tomorrow my plan is to finish my needlework and embroidery challenge for the Daily 30 group. I have to stitch on something that either has the most colors or the most shapes. And I'm going to pick up my Spring Quaker and work on it. I have to get a minimum of 200 stitches in it for that prompt. And that will finish up that prompt, which will be great. And then we start August 1st with all the new acrostics and the new whip go calls and everything else. So I'm so looking forward to it. Well, thanks for letting me share my stitching with you. I'm hoping that next month will be a fun and fabulous time together. Anyway, one last look at it. Santa's house, it's finished, it's done. Can't wait to have it fully finished, and I'll share it with you when I do. But thanks for letting me share my stitching journey with you. Happy stitching, everybody.